Welcome back. Welcome back to Ghana Great and Strong, where we are talking about coalition and referring to something that I put on Facebook that has attracted all manner of comments. And I'll read some of those comments that I found on Facebook to you so that you would also understand why I have found it necessary to dig deeper into the meaning of coalition for election purposes, for forming government, and so on and so forth. Well, let's take an example from one of our neighbors in West Africa. In Nigeria, a coalition was formed, and this coalition that was formed, this coalition formed in Nigeria was a coalition of 4 opposition parties, and they are the Action Congress of Nigeria, the ACN, the Congress for Progressive Change, CPC, the All Nigeria People's Party, ANPP, and part of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. And this coalition, which was called the APC, described itself as a leftist progressive party, although that party includes diverse geographical and political constituencies, reflecting the basis of the founding parties. There are some that came from the north, some from the southeast or the southwest, and definitely the APGA was from the southeast. So it is this coalition that enabled the now President Buhari to remove from power former President Goodluck Jonathan and the political party that he used, whose platform he used to go through the election. So this coalition of 4 political parties proved to be something that assisted now President Buhari to accomplish what he couldn't do. He couldn't do with only his own political party and his contested elections in prior years. So here, one example, one successful example of the formation of a coalition that has now brought President Buhari, the person who many are looking up to as someone who will be able to rid Africa's most populous nation of corruption, of bribery, of theft of public funds, and perhaps, and hopefully, send its people to a high level of prosperity. If we go past, well, let me not go past Africa yet, just across the way, sharing the border with us on the western side, you go to Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, you would also realize that President Ouattara entered into the election that was just held in October this year with a mix of political parties, a coalition. And that coalition, which included people that maybe in prior years had opposed his candidature or prevented him from even contesting elections, they all came together and supported him, and he won this election. So another example of a coalition, and one that was also and has also been successful. But more important than that, it is the same coalition that President Ouattara had relied upon these past few years to enable him to successfully carry out an agenda of rehabilitation, an agenda of building infrastructure, an agenda of bringing hope back to Cote d'Ivoire. And I have been there physically, and I can attest to the fact that they are doing well for their country. I hope that they continue to do the right things so that the people, the Ivorian people, can benefit and do well as citizens in their own country. Now, I want to go outside of West Africa and give you some examples. But before we do, let's go and take another break. Take a message from another one of our sponsors, and we'll come back. Well, welcome back to Ghana Great and Strong, where we are talking about coalitions. And I want to give you an example. There's one country that has gone through several decades of building coalitions for election and for the purpose of governance. You go back to 1917. In Canada, they had what they called a union government with a prime minister, conservative prime minister called Robert Borden. And he came together to seek a coalition with independent MPs and liberals. And they won a convincing majority. Convincing majority. And then there were a number of other coalitions that had taken place in various states of Canada. So I just gave you one example of the union government in 1917. There have been other coalitions in Canada since then. But just one example. But then if we go to other countries, you would find that in Germany, the Chancellor, who is the chairwoman of the Christian Democratic Union, CDU, heads a coalition that includes the Christian Social Union, CSU, and the Social Democratic Party of Germany, SPD. So here you are, another example. In Germany, coalitions are something that happen with regularity. If you go to Israel, they're always building coalitions. It's a necessity. Different political parties, some with different ideologies and so on and so forth, they get together. And indeed, in the 120-seat Knesset, there are no fewer than 18 parties. 18 parties there. And it is governed by a coalition of four parties. The Kadima Party, the Labour, Maimad, the Shas, and Gil. They, at some point, they have come together to form a coalition. If you go to Ireland, Ireland has seen many coalitions, and one of the most recent ones was a coalition of three political parties. That is the Fianna Fáil, the Green Party, and the Progressive Democrats. You go to Switzerland, you find that recently there was a coalition of four parties: the Christian Democrats, the Social Democrats, the Liberal Democrats, and the Conservative Democrats. And this coalition, they have actually governed Switzerland since 1959. And recently, in Britain, well, who doesn't know about the coalition between the Conservatives, led by David Cameron, and the Liberal Democrats, led by Nick Clegg? They formed a coalition government. Some say it brought some positive things to Britain, others disagree. What it did for the Conservatives as a political party versus the Liberal Democrats as a political party, well, that is there for historians to examine and analysts to go through to determine who in the end benefited and who did not benefit. But the important thing is, did the people of Britain benefit from that coalition? That is the question that needs to be answered. Not what benefited the individuals who led the coalition or even the political parties that were part of that coalition. Let's come to Ghana, because I'd like to give you a bit of our own history in Ghana of working with coalitions. But before I do, I want to share with you some of the comments that I got in Facebook. There's someone called Jacobs. He's called Alzen or Jacobs Alzen, and his comment to me was, words can really sing, but can it dance while it sings? Being in governance is different from being in opposition. And he asks me, Dr. Indo, you are a good man, but can all these good things pour down, become something good that would benefit the people? Now, this Jacobs Alzen, he talked about, can these words sing, or the words can sing, but can it dance? And when he did this, a number of people also replied this Jacob Alzen. And I want to share with you some of the responses that came, because sometimes it's important that we go back. A whole bunch of people who went back and forth. There is someone who said that, look, if you want to say words to Dr. Indom, you go and be practical and try to bring employment to one or two Ghanaians. Experience how real life is, and then come back to say words again. Well, when that was said to Mr. Olsen, he came back and said, you can go to hell or whatever, because you can't tell me those unemployed graduates in Ghana today are in party attires. And he says, why doesn't Dr. Ndom employ all of them? You see, these are some of the things that we get in public spaces where people anonymously so-called, even though on Facebook, nobody is really anonymous, because you can really find out the background of an individual as soon as they enter Facebook. It is important for people to understand that we will disagree as far as ideas are concerned, that we will disagree because someone likes A and doesn't like B. But we must disagree in a civil manner. We must try to understand those we disagree with and ensure that in disagreement, we still remain capable of working together as one people in one nation in hopefully the same direction to accomplish something good for the country that we all say we are citizens of. Many different comments. There's an Anthony Simpson who commented on this, who also said, well spoken. And I know many other parties see PPP as a strong force to work with. We will be with you come rain or shine. And for those who are asking why he did not do that when he had the opportunity, that is, why he did not forge a coalition with other people, go back to history and find out what happened. And indeed, that's an important point, because anyone who is questioning my calling for a coalition should know that I am one person who has had experience coming from one political party historically opposed to another party, and yet going to be with that other party for a period of time, a few years, to serve in a government led by that party. So I understand and I know how difficult it is to be in a coalition to serve the country in government. But I also understand the positives that can come when ideas come from different perspectives, different angles, different points of view. We come together with great intentions, and when it happens and it works well, it is fantastic for the country and for the people. So I can attest to the fact that being in a coalition with like-minded people, positive-minded people, but competent people is good. The issue is whether we can find those competent people, and that somebody wouldn't say that this is my party, this is my government. So those who don't belong to my party, you are just helping. You are tangential to whatever it is that we're trying to do. True coalitions welcome everybody. That's what I am promoting. That is what I am interested in. Now, I want to take another break. A break to listen to another message from another one of our sponsors, and we will come back. This is Ghana Great and Strong.
Oma for brand
Well, welcome back to Ghana Great and Strong, where today we're talking coalition. And I am specifically relating to something that I put out there in social media that has attracted a lot of attention and many different comments. Well, Eric Ankra says, I am glad, Doctor, that you are now talking about coalition. Great. Why don't you take the first step by collating with the party that brought you to the limelight? I would be the first to support this your cause if you did that. I feel so hurt whenever you speak against the NPP. I am so happy you have seen the vision. Join and fight together to overthrow the incompetence of the NDC. That is from Eric Ankra. Felix Fiano says, Doctor, you speak as an adult and educated person, but please, why was this idea not on board when you were part of government? Or are they coming because you own a political party, which I presume you are in the quest to capture power? Someone called Bambologic, he says, if democracy is not favoring us, why don't we change the style of government then? Democracy is not meant for ambitionless countries like Ghana. That's what he says. And he says democracy deals with countries with large size and population. Well, that's from Bambologic. Emmanuel Obing says, you are not president, but I see your work in the country. That is from Emmanuel Obing. Efo Janto says, how many presidential aspirants have this in mind? Using the best people for the job is the solution to Ghana's predicament. But for corruption, no Ghanaian leader will talk about it, let alone to practice it. Abdul Rahman Karim says, Doctor, you are the best man who can salvage Ghana from the current economic doldrums. Ghana is facing crisis attributable to bad governance and corruption, which is unprecedented since independence. Joseph Tre says, the best way to influence Ghanaians before 2016 is campaign for PPP as much as possible and team up with the NPP for power and influence that you have experienced some time ago to effect the change. Then All Shall Pass, somebody who gives his name as All Shall Pass says, just as goats and sheep are each led by their kinds, so are fools. Doctor, you are too clean and serious-minded for Ghanaians to elect you as their president. Well, let me leave it there. And let's talk Ghana. So what about Ghana? You know, Ghana, our political situation since independence. Let me just read through to you, just to give all of us a certain perspective. Here's what has happened since independence. From 1957 to 1958, you could call it a democracy. In 1958 to 1964, we had what some people called a restricted democratic practice. Then from 1964 to 1966, we were a one-party state with only the CPP there. From 1966 to 1969, we were under military regime. Then 1969 to 1972 was a democracy. Then 1972 to 1979, we went backwards under a military regime. Then we tasted democracy briefly, 1979 to 1981. And then we went back again. So 1981 to 1992, it was a military regime. And you can call from 1992 to the present that we've been in an emerging democracy. We've now served more time practicing under a democracy since 1993, for a longer period than we've ever had in our history as an independent nation. So something positive is happening. But let's go through. Indeed, there have been many different political parties in Ghana. If you go back over the years, there are many names, more names than I can even mention. We've had the Action Congress Party, All People's Republican Party, the Amlon Youth Association, the Convention People's Party, Democratic People's Party, Every Ghanaian Living Everywhere, Federation of Youth. You have the Ghana Congress Party, Great Consolidated Popular Party, even the Muslim Association Party. There was a National Alliance of Liberals, National Convention Party, you had the National Independence Party, the National Liberation Movement, and so on and so forth. We've had so many different political parties. So now, what has been our experience with coalitions? So which ones have we experienced? In 2004, if you have forgotten, I'm reminding you. In 2004, there was what was called the Grand Coalition. The Grand Coalition included the People's National Convention, Every Ghanaian Living Everywhere, the Great Consolidated People's Party. Then, in 1996, we had what was called the Great Alliance. They contested the presidential election, and it included the New Patriotic Party and the People's Convention Party, PCP. In 1992, we had the Progressive Alliance. The Progressive Alliance included the NDC, or the National Democratic Congress, Every Ghanaian Living Everywhere, or EGL, and the National Convention Party, NCP. So those are the ones that we have had so far that I can identify. Maybe there are some that I've missed. So in our history, we have had them. The Progressive Alliance succeeded. The Great Alliance did not succeed in winning the presidency. And the Grand Coalition also did not succeed in winning the presidency. So we've had our experience and some experience with it. All I'm trying to say is that when I put out a call, or anyone else puts out a call, that let's build a coalition to fight an election, that it isn't anything new in this world, that it has happened even in West Africa, in Nigeria, in Cote d'Ivoire, and in many other countries in Africa. Coalitions are something regular in the UK and in Europe. It happens in Israel, in Canada, in Asia it happens. And it is something that is honorable. It is something that we must not use to insult our political opponents or call them names or ugly names. It is something that can work to the benefit of a country and a people. It is something that we must encourage. as a people. So it is something good. It is something good for us Ghanaians to consider. Now, my interests in coalition, I really, really do believe that in the different political parties that we have, they tend to ignore, they tend not to make use of those individuals out there who have expertise but don't want to get involved in partisan politics. Sometimes they are afraid of being insulted, sometimes they're afraid of being victimized, and so on and so forth. A coalition would be able to draw those kinds of people in so that they can use their knowledge, their expertise for the benefit of Ghana and Ghanaians. And you know, coalitions also are able to solve the problem of these individual political parties only catering to the needs and the whims and whatever of their own members. And so by joining together different people from different backgrounds, there is the hope that we can pick from each political party, that we can pick from the non-political types, we can pick some of the best people available. Because the problems that we have as a country, they defy ideology. The problems defy ideology. If you talk about energy, huge energy problem we have, huge infrastructure problem we have, huge unemployment problem we have. It requires the best minds and big money and great leadership to resolve them. No one political party is going to be able to solve that huge problem. So we must band together a few political parties and make them work with only the sole interests of Ghana and Ghanaians as their objective to make Ghana, the country, great and strong, and also to get the people out of poverty, to make them prosper. So that's why I'm interested, not just as an individual, but I believe that Ghana can get to be somewhere good if we do get some people together, some political parties together, get some of the best people together to form a government. But before you form a government, before you can do that, you must win an election. And elections are won with numbers. And so, while some may have great ideas, but not the muscle, some may have the muscle, but not so great ideas, well, we need to mix it all together so that ideas and muscle and people can all come together, and resources can all come together to make sure that an election can be won. And in 2016, we need to make that happen in Ghana. This is Ghana great and strong. This has been our discussion on coalition. It is important that you make up your own mind. What would you like to have happen? Independent, individual political parties doing some of the same things that have been done since 1993, or encourage people to get together, bring the best together so that something better can happen? Are you satisfied with what we have? Should we change course and make sure that opportunity is given to everybody in Ghana? What is it that we want really as a nation? And can a coalition of like-minded people help us realize the objectives? I have put there at the very beginning what I would wish to be some of the conditions for being part of a coalition, such as changing the constitution to let the people vote for their own DCEs, such as making sure that we separate the Office of Attorney General from that of the Minister of Justice so that there will be independence when it comes to prosecution, so that when someone does something against the state and against the people, that political consideration wouldn't allow those person or persons to go free, so we can fight corruption effectively, so we can stop this rot that is robbing the nation of the resources we need to develop our country. Such as making sure that all children benefit from free, compulsory, continuous education from kindergarten to the end of senior high school, so that we support our own businesses, our own local businesses with government's purchasing power. So we create jobs, the jobs our young men and women are crying for. So there's a reason for it. And I hope you would agree with some of those reasons. I hope that you can support the call for coalition. I hope that in your own way, you can also think through this. That is what Ghana Great and Strong is all about. Food for thought. Bring you some factual information for your consideration. Agree or disagree. Let's have a serious discourse, a serious discussion, wherever you may be. And may the state, may the country, may the people of the Republic of Ghana be the beneficiaries of this discourse, of this discussion. This has been Ghana Great and Strong. I have been your host. My name is Papa Kwesi Endo.
Oma for brand